Spiritual Psychics TV is hosting the first annual recognition of achievements this December, acknowledging those who dedicate their lives to a spiritual act of kindness. Spiritual Psychics TV, bringing spiritual people together.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our divine service here at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, broadcasting live. We have a small congregation here today, and I'd like to extend a warm and loving welcome to the virtual congregation, and we'll say hello to you with some names in a few moments. But I'd like to extend that warm and loving welcome to Wendy Lyon, DSNU. Wendy, welcome to Wimbledon Spiritualist Church.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a great pleasure, and we had a nice chat the other night, didn't we? We put the world to right, didn't we, for a few moments?
Yes.
Well, friends, it's a great time to be together. I put a nice bright shirt on this morning so everyone can see that I'm trying to work within the light, because I was worried about the gremlins again. We had a touch of the gremlins this morning, but I'm going to go see a doctor about that tomorrow. So, friends, let us start our service by Wendy opening our meeting with prayer.
Thank you. Please join with me in our opening prayer. Father God, thank you for allowing us to meet this morning in this virtual service. Please may we ask today that the power of spirit, the power of light shine brightly within our service. May we ask that the veil between the two worlds can be lifted for this short time, so that we can be touched by the joy, the love, and the happiness of those who have gone on before us. We ask that everything which takes place today will be done with compassion and truth, but most of all with love. Amen.
Amen. Friends, keeping those prayerful thoughts together, and after that wonderful invocation, let us now turn our minds to spiritual healing. Healing of mind, body and spirit. Healing for those who's deeply in need of our love and our attention. And we ask the Divine Father to consecrate and bless the names we are going to say this morning, and send his ministering guides and ministers to them to help them. So this morning we think of Claire, Rachel, Sharon, Jane, Kelly and Stephen, Jackie, Rob, Mal, Ed, Brenda, baby Abigail, who's developed jaundice after a few weeks of birth, Rita, Joe, Tina, Tracy, Bernie and her daughter Corrigan, Joe, Annie, Jill, Amber and Tony and another Tony, two Tonys altogether. We ask that the Divine Father bless and send his ministering healing angels to them, knowing at all times thy will shall always be done according to divine law. Let us all now say the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So mote it be. Friends, we're now going to have the collection in the church, which I'll ask George here to go round. And those of you online, if you can donate, we have a PayPal account which goes straight to the church. It's www.paypal.com, paypal.me/LAD promotions. We will use the money to the best of our ability to keep both our churches open. And Richard's now going to have some adverts for us while this is going on.
You're watching a divine service with Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. The show will continue after these short announcements. This afternoon from 4 p.m, we welcome back our popular show, The Sunday Sofa, with Polly and Jane. The show consists of advice, readings and general conversations. In the evening from 8 p.m. we have our free VIP mediumship development class with Marcus Lapser. More information can be found in the VIP lounge. Tomorrow morning from 11 a.m, Alison and Stace host their brunch show with guest Dawn Darling. After the brunch show, and from 2 p.m, Polly joins us again for an afternoon of animal communication. Tomorrow evening from 8:30 p.m, Matt and Kirsty present their show offering spiritual advice and free readings. For more information on our broadcasts, schedule, and information about the presenters, please visit our website. That's it for all the announcements. I'll pass you back to Ray. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you for paying attention to those adverts, and also thank you to those here in the church that donated and those of you online. We thank you both very much. We're now going to say hello to a few names on screen. And if Wendy wants to say hello as well, you're more than welcome to, Wendy. Gremlins. Good morning, Sally. Welcome to our church again.
Morning, Sally.
Pat, good morning and welcome.
Morning, Pat.
Amy Curtis, good morning.
Morning, Amy.
Leslie Moulton, I think I know you, Leslie. We've met before, I think, so welcome.
Welcome.
Amanda McConnell, good morning and welcome.
Morning, Amanda.
Elaine, good morning and welcome. It's lovely seeing you. So you're very busy on Facebook. Ria Thomas, good morning.
Good morning.
Amy Andrews, good morning.
Good morning.
Joe Stainsbury, good morning. Lovely picture. Good morning and welcome, Joanne.
Morning, Joanne.
Laurie Garner, good morning. Another nice little picture.
Good morning.
Linda Wilson, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Linda.
Susan Ann Wetherall, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Susan Brocklesby, good morning.
Good morning.
Claire, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Claire.
Kayla, good morning.
Good morning, Michaela.
And one more, Christine Moraes. Good morning, Christine. It's nice to see your face. Well, not your face, your name. I'm psychic, I can see a lot. Christine from Spain. Christine, good morning. Hope you're all well out there. And Stacey Shaw, nice to see you as well, Stacey. Thank you very much. We're now going to ask a member of our church, Phil Shaw, to give the reading for the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to read a poem by Edward de Vere, Earl of Oxford, that he wrote in 1585, which is called My Mind to Me a Kingdom Is. My mind to me a kingdom is, such perfect joy therein I find, that it excels all other bliss that world affords and grows by kind. Though much I want which most men have, yet still my mind forbids to crave. No princely pomp, no wealthy store, no force to win the victory, no wily wit to salve a sore, no shape to feed each gazing eye. To none of these I yield as thrall, for why my mind doth serve for all. I see how plenty suffers oft, how hasty climbers soon do fall. I see that those that are aloft, mishap doth threaten most of all. They get with toil, they keep with fear. Such cares my mind could never bear. Content I live, this is my stay. I seek no more than may suffice. I press to bear no haughty sway. Look what I lack, my mind supplies. Lo, thus I triumph like a king. Content with that my mind doth bring. Some have too much, some still to crave. I little have and seek no more. They are but poor, though much they have, and I am rich with little store. They poor, I rich, they beg, I give, they lack, I leave, they pine, I live. I laugh not at another's loss, I grudge not at another's gain. No worldly waves my mind can toss, my state at one doth still remain. I fear no foe, nor fawning friend, I loathe not life, nor dread my end. Some weigh their pleasure by their lust, their wisdom by their rage of will. Their treasure is their only trust, and cloaked craft their store of skill. But all the pleasure that I find is to maintain a quiet mind. My wealth is health and perfect ease, my conscience clear, my chief defense. I neither seek by bribes to please, nor by deceit to breed offense. Thus do I live, thus will I die. Would all did so as well as I.
Thank you very much. I should have introduced Phil earlier, so I do apologise for not doing that. Now, Wendy, the address. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Phil, for sharing those wonderful words, very thought-provoking words, where we are asked to question what is the true essence of life. Health, happiness, of course. But are these gained from material things, or are they gained from truly embracing the power of our spirit, that divine right that we have from being here, part of humanity? Of course, all of us have to live a physical life. And with that physical life, we have to gain experience. We have to learn the lessons which will teach us about the spectrum of emotions, will teach us about the values which we learn to grow, which we learn to hold close to our heart. And of course, the greatest value of all is love. And perhaps when we listened to that reading, we questioned, what is the value of life? What is the value of our life? We have to go through all the different phases, and yet always come back to the need for peace, for the need of a quiet mind, need to feel at one, not only with ourselves, through the power of God. And perhaps spiritualism brings us that gift of insight, understanding, the awareness. When we seek to find that stillness within, and we can truly connect to the essence of who we are, the essence of our spirit, that soul awareness which all of us are born with. Perhaps the true intention, the true potential of our spirit is placed in our heart at the time we are born and throughout our life. We seek that understanding, we seek that awareness, truly find the oneness and the peace. Yet, of course, life will test us at every different level. We will face many emotions, and even though we are trying to find the peace within, trying to live with love in our hearts, there will be times we are tested. And this is part of our journey. Yet it can be so challenging. It can be so difficult to find that acceptance when we don't necessarily accept what other people are doing or what other people are saying. It can be frightening sometimes because we will be pushed to the very boundaries of our understanding. And yet we know when we begin to connect to Spirit, we know that when we are reaching out through that power of love, what we find is we find a way of moving beyond our fear, moving beyond the shadows of doubt, to find that element of the Spirit within. See, we all have that Spirit, ladies and gentlemen. We all have it, and yet we cannot see it. We cannot see that power that we have, and yet is it not the power of life itself? But of course, we're all at different levels too. And this can also be challenging because perhaps we are just starting out on our journey. Perhaps we have many years of experience, a lifetime of knowledge, and yet still we have to find ways of adapting, ways of living together, ways of acceptance. And acceptance is one of the values that we hold within spiritualism. Acceptance that no matter what is happening within our life, within the lives of other people, there is the ability to care, there is the ability to love. Now, of course, we may question at times some of the things that people do and some of the things that people say. They may not resonate with how we live our lives, and we can struggle with that concept. And yet we begin to recognize that each person within this world has a part to play. Perhaps that part is testing us, is pushing us to the boundaries just to see, can we still love? Can we still care? Looking at life through different perspectives, but growing through each lesson. And this, again, is one of the many benefits that we have from spiritualism, where we don't all have to be the same. There can be diversity. And yet, when we can try to live with peace, the very intention of doing so can create that peace within ourselves. But most importantly, we have to find that acceptance for us. Looking back over our lives, it's very easy to see all the weaknesses that we have. But how many of us pause to look at the strengths we have? How many of us actually take the time to look at the acts of kindness that we gave for other people? Is the definition of love acceptance? Is it compassion? Is it having an understanding that each person is trying their best, even though they may not have the same understanding as us? But it's so hard. Sometimes we will find that place within us where we are truly challenged. That's the time when we can go within to that stillness, to quieten the chatter within our mind. It's very rare that when we have this chatter, when we have this clutter with our thoughts, that we can truly feel and hear that voice, that inspiration of the soul, that connection to the power we know as God. the creative energy. That's part of us, ladies and gentlemen. We have that power, and we can use it for the good, or we could use it for other reasons. And yet, would they bring us happiness? Surely, when we look within and when we come together, we find that through unity and through acceptance, there is the ability to find peace, the eternal spirit. So it's not just about when we pass to the spirit world and looking back over our lives and remembering, recalling, perhaps even regretting. It's about living now. Spiritualism takes away the fear of dying. We know that we will be reunited with the people we love. We know that they will be there for us. We know all these things. So surely the greatest truth that we can have is to live a spiritual life now, trying to quieten the mind, to hear that voice within, quieting the mind to live with the potential of our spirit, recognizing that we will walk on many pathways in this life, and some pathways will lead us to the mountains and the hills, where we stand at the bottom, never believing we can ever reach the top, having to go within to find that inner strength. Yet, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it true that when we are at the most challenged within our life, the power of our spirit can rise, can be there with that courage to take the next step. It can be there with that faith, with that belief that even though we don't know how we're going to get there, there is this driving force that encourages us to do so. And then when we reach that mountain top, we are able to look back, often in hindsight, recognizing just how far we came, just how far we reached towards that light that's within us all. And sometimes when we're struggling, when we're finding it difficult to understand the experiences we are living through, light can seem to dim, and does it really? Does it ever dim? Or does it continue to shine, that burning power within us that connects us to the power of God? We opened our service of prayer, reaching out that unseen power, yet trusting the connection that was made, trusting that we could all come together as one. Then we moved forward into the healing, again reaching out to people all over the world, perhaps never meeting these people or knowing who they are, but trusting through the power of our thoughts, through the intention of our love, that we could reach them. We could reach the people who were in darkness, who were struggling at this time. And isn't that also one of the most wonderful gifts we can give to another person, so that they know someone cares, someone is reaching out with that light, with that awareness, with that love? Again, ladies and gentlemen, none of those things can be bought with material money, with material gifts. They're all gifts that come from the Spirit, which are free. The gift of the soul, to love one another, to find that acceptance and unity, even though I may not agree and you may not agree with me, still find tolerance. When we look at the natural world, we see that everything belongs, everything has a place within the garden of life. And perhaps there's a lesson there. Every season that we go through within a year merges one from the next. There's no resistance, but there's acceptance. And perhaps through our life, we move through the seasons of the soul, the seasons of awareness, where we learn what values hold true in our heart. We learn that having a quiet mind, that is the riches of the Spirit. We learn that understanding love, trying to give love, trying to find love within ourselves is the rich of the Spirit. So many gifts that we have within ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And when we are able to share these with other people, then the true power of spiritualism can be recognized. Our pioneers knew this. And when we look back to the struggles that they had, they continued no matter what. When we think of the power of spirit, they reached out to us, always with that hand of friendship, with the awareness, with the understanding, to teach us that life is continuous. They never gave up on us, even though perhaps we gave up on ourselves. And our pioneers were that voice for spirit. They were that link that was able to join the two worlds together. And we continue today with that awareness and with that recognition. Life is eternal. The physical life is the one now, where we practice, we gain experience, we learn through our mistakes, and we grow through our triumphs and successes within life. But always trying to reach that attainment, that place of awareness, that place of peace, where we can quieten our mind and we can know beyond all shadows of doubt that regardless of the material things that surround us, when we have that inner peace, when we have that love within, knowing the power of God, the connection that joins us to the spirit world, and the connection that joins us to all of us, and surely that is when we truly learn to know the power and the glory of the Spirit. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we reflect on the words that Phil shared with us and the words that have been spoken today, always remember that no matter what is happening within your life, you can choose to stop at any moment and quieten your mind, reaching out to that power of God, that power of Spirit, asking for that light to shine brightly within you so that you can know the true power of harmony, the true blessing of peace, but most of all, the power of love. And I would like to leave you with those words.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you very much indeed. Now, Wendy prepares to do the next part of the service where she brings the two worlds just a little bit closer. I'd like to remind everybody here in Wimbledon Church, if you think the medium is with you, please put your hand up and I'll take over from there. And online, it's very important when you're replying yes or no, you need to very much explain what you're saying yes to or not what you're saying yes to. So if it's yes, it's a man with a wooden leg and a parrot, accept. If it's no, I can't accept. I always use Long John Silver as an analogy because there's not many men that we all know with a wooden leg and a parrot on his shoulder. So that's it. So friends, I now hand over back to Wendy, who will now bring the two worlds just that little bit closer. And any questions, Wendy, please just call out for me and I'll be here. I'm going to mute my mic, but I will be here. Ladies and gentlemen, Wendy Lyon, DSNU, will now do the clairvoyance. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, this is a new experience, but of course we will work together. I was very much aware as I'm blending with those in the spirit world of a lady coming forward that I want to speak about as mum. And as mum is beginning to blend with me, she makes me feel a sense of peace. I feel that she was a very gentle and caring lady. But as she's coming forward, she's making me very much aware that she would have had a cancerous condition. She is drawing me to my stomach area, and yet I feel I also have a block within my throat, because it's very hard to swallow. It's very hard for me even to speak. And I feel that this would have been a condition that mum would have had, especially in the last 4 to 5 weeks of her life. So she's making me aware she would have had a cancerous condition. It would have been quite strong at the end. I feel it's quite aggressive towards the end of her life. The name of Peggy is also linking to mum, but not necessarily her name. Can anyone understand that information so far? Okay, Tracy. Okay, you're saying, Tracy, that this would have been like your Nana, but would you understand where Nana was concerned? There has to be a very strong connection where, especially in your younger days, she would have cared a lot for you and you would have spent a lot of time with her. It's okay about the name, but do you understand everything else? Because I don't feel Peggy was her name, Margaret, but it would have been a neighbour. You can maybe check with that. Do you understand everything else?
Wendy, there's about a 15-20 second delay in replying back.
Okay.
Just to let you know, I should have said, do forgive me.
Okay, I
And
apologise.
she's saying my mum had cancer and could not drink.
Yes, because I feel that this was very important, that there was problems with the throat at the end, and I know I struggled to drink with this. I think we'll have Susan here, and where this lady would have become quite frustrated because she was unable to drink. So I know that she became quite agitated and she would have needed some sort of medication to help her be calm. That this is Susan we're speaking about here. I do feel I'm more with her mum, I have to say. Okay, right, we've got two ladies. So I've got Tracy and I've got Susan. Between the two of you, would you understand that you used to sit by this lady's bedside? No, I want to stick more with mum. What I want to say is, with this lady, I would have been sitting by her bedside, and I want to be holding her hand on the day that she passed. This is what I feel, that there had been other people, but whoever I have to speak to would have been holding this lady's hand when she passed, or just before she passed. Okay, have I lost everyone? Because she's making me very much aware. I know I'm drifting in and out of consciousness as well with this lady, and she's getting a little bit confused, but that was to do with the medication. Okay, does anyone understand that as a mum who had cancer, who had problems with her throat, especially towards the end, because I'm struggling to drink, I wasn't really able to eat anything, where the person I want to speak to would have spent a lot of time, and who was there when the lady passed? Because I feel that she's making me aware that someone is holding her hand. This is the feeling she's giving me. Okay, so I've lost track. Can someone understand all of the information? Okay, Susan, if I can come to yourself, because this is what I feel with your mum. She's making me aware that she was very much a vibrant lady. She was a strong lady. She was very valued within the family. I've got a close relationship where I want to be in communication on a daily basis. And when the cancer came, I know that she deteriorated quite quickly, because she's giving me this feeling that everything within her life changed so rapidly, and yet you were that strength that supported her and helped her. Because I know she's turning to you. You're there, you're checking within, when she has to go to doctors, but there's that strength that I'm there with you. I'm supporting you all of the time. You're not here on your own. You're not going through this on your own. Can you understand that, Susan? I've got such a lovely lady, but you would understand as well that you were there, because I know when Mum is coming forward, she is speaking about the last 2 months in particular of her life, where everything seemed to collapse round about her. And this cancer, it consumed everything. She is speaking about how the family put everything on hold so that they could be there in those final few months to give her all the care that she needed. She's also making me aware that she lost an awful lot of weight, and she was very cold. She was very cold. And what she's saying to me here, Susan, is that you were such a strength to her. She's making me aware that you're touching her face, but I also want to be dabbing round her mouth, and it's like ice or a wet, there's wetness there, because this problem with my throat is so dry, and yet you're there listening. And even when she was she was asleep, you were there and you were holding her hand. You kept reassuring her that you loved her. And also, would you accept that just in the 2 days before she passed, where I want to say, Mom, enough, it's time to go. And it was something that the last thing you wanted to do was tell Mom that, it was so much for her to bear this pain, that she was struggling. And yet it was through that connection of love that you were so dedicated. And it came to the stage where you asked God, please take my mom, but allow her to slip away very gently. And she's making me aware that it was so gentle at the end. Just before, there had been a little bit of a panic. I feel my breathing is quite erratic, and yet I've just managed to slip away. And this is what Mum is speaking about here. But I know she wasn't alone. She's telling me as well that after she passed, there was a serenity that came over her face, and people spoke about she's now at peace, because I know she tells me this. She is also singing hymns to me, where she would have loved the hymns, the voice, that power. There is a spirituality with your mom as well. She's not saying she's a spiritualist, but I know that there is such a spiritual nature with your mom, because she speaks of the connection, that even though she's in the spirit world, that connection between you is so close. She's making me aware that over the last week you have felt Mum very closely. And okay, I know you're saying you never got there in time, but would you understand that you'd said your goodbyes before? There must have been the last occasion, because this is what she's making me aware of. I'd held her hand, I'd squeezed her hand, and I had given her a kiss, and I told her how much I loved her as well. She's making me aware of that. But I know that day is drifting in tonight, and I'm not sure where I am. There's confusion, because this is the feeling she's giving me. But Mum is making me very much that over this last week in particular, she has been very, very close to you. She's showing me you looking at her photograph and speaking to her within your mind, where you speak to her on a daily basis, or you have thoughts of Mum on a daily basis. Because that connection, and where you had the thought Oh, I miss you, Mum. I wish you were here. I wish you were here just to speak, because she laughs when she said, you know, you used to speak all the time, and sometimes you didn't really speak about anything, and yet you spoke about everything because that connection to Mum was so, so close. And this is what you miss now. But just before she begins to step back, she's making me aware of daffodils. I want to give you daffodils because not only I know they represent cancer, but the daffodils are the flowers that are upright, they're strong, and they're golden. She brings in April for anniversaries, but that would be to do with a passing. But she's not telling me it's hers. But the daffodils are the sunshine in your face. And this is what she's bringing. She's bringing the memories where there was a park relatively close that had lots and lots of daffodils, and she loved them. She loved the smell, she loved the colour, but she liked all of nature too. Because this is what she's making me aware of. So she wants to give you daffodils. She's also giving me an anniversary of the 11th of April and also the 12th. So if you're not sure of that, will you please ask within your family? I do feel that one is the passing of a lady and one is the passing of a gentleman. The 11th is a lady, the 12th is a gentleman. And if you can check that. But will you please know, Susan, just how close Mum is? And as she steps back, she opens her hand and gives me a butterfly. And what she speaks of is that freedom comes from letting go. So where the thoughts you've been sending to her, she's saying she's listening, she's hearing your prayers, because she said every night before you go to sleep, you send her a thought and you send a prayer of gratitude for all you have, and then you send prayers for the people that you care about within your life now. So will you please accept Mum's love, Susan, knowing how very, very close she is to you? Okay, but can you check in April? Ask the family. Okay, because this is what she's speaking about. So I know that the daffodils are there, but she gives them to you today. So thank you, Susan, for speaking with me and allowing me to share your mum and the beautiful energy she brings, because she's such a lovely, lovely lady and very well respected within our community, but most of all within her family. So thank you for sharing her love with me. Okay, I'd like to move forward now, and I have a gentleman coming forward who is telling me that he is Dad. And as Dad is coming forward, he has brought me to his heart and telling me that he passed very, very quickly with a heart attack. Dad is making me aware that he would have had some pains in his arm, and he's telling me it was a few weeks before, but he didn't really, take it seriously. He felt, I think it's okay. I've maybe strained myself, because Dad wasn't a gentleman that would have gone to the doctor. I don't really want to do that. I'm too busy getting on with my life. But as he is coming forward, he's making me aware that he was in his house and he had this massive heart attack. He would have collapsed, and there would have been people there who would have tried to resuscitate him, because I'm aware that someone is on the telephone, they're phoning for an ambulance, and they're being given guidance about how to try and resuscitate Dad. But the heart attack was so strong that he wasn't able to come through the other side. He is making me aware that he's quite a large gentleman, he's quite tall, but there's a pride with this gentleman. He's very much a hard-working man. He's very much someone that has strong moral standards, where he worked hard throughout his life. He was a very caring gentleman as well, but it was the fact that he worked in the way he did. He was very much a perfectionist. But the suddenness of his passing took everyone by surprise. Can anyone understand that information at the moment with Dad? Okay, I do feel I'm more with a Dad. Can anyone understand this as Dad. The name of George is coming forward, which I feel would have been shortened to Dodd. Now, I'm not saying that is his name, but it was within the family. And the name of Arthur is also being given. And I don't feel that that is his name, but they would tie in with him. So we're looking for a dad that had a heart attack, very, very sudden heart attack. There was someone there within him. So is that, Jamie, you understand all of that information, Jamie? Okay, so as Dad is coming forward, would you accept that he was a gentleman that was so passionate about his family? He was someone, in fact, he was passionate about life, really. He was a hardworking man, but he also cared very much for his family. And he was a gentleman that was organized. He was a gentleman that was always thinking ahead and always planning. So the fact that he passed so suddenly, so unexpectedly, just took everyone by surprise. And he's telling me that people now still haven't been able to come to terms with this passing because it was so quick. Would you understand that, Jamie? Okay, well, I felt it was at home, so I apologise for that. Would you understand if he passed at work that there was someone there, someone was phoning an ambulance, and they were being given instructions about how to do the CPR? Because I know that someone is working on him, somebody's compressing his heart, and they're working on him until the ambulance people come. And they continue to work on him in the ambulance on his way to hospital. Okay, so you can accept all that information, because as Dad is coming forward, he's showing me his hands, and he's saying he had big hands, but he was also creative hands. So I know with Dad, as he's given me this impression that he liked to make things and he liked to experiment with things, so nothing would have fazed him. And if he felt one of his family was in need, then he would have given everything he could to come forward and support them. And especially with yourself, Jamie, because I just know that someone was with him. As he is coming forward, Jamie, he is speaking about the relationship he had with you. So I know very much with Dad, he was somebody very protective towards you, but he's telling me that you used to make him laugh as a little girl because you had such a beautiful smile, and he said he always loved that smile. He's also speaking about your hair, where he loved your hair. He said you had such shiny, beautiful hair, and he used to love the way when you were running in the garden, it used to flow. And this is what he's saying. He said, you know, the way Jamie was, she was always trying to bring light to people's lives. And very much where you brought that to his, because he speaks of how he worked. Okay, so we've got Daniela as well. Let me just see where I'm going with this. Whichever one I am with here, I want memories of being in the garden and picking daisies and making daisy chains and giving Dad a daisy chain. So I also have this as a memory where you would have been a little girl at the time, but you would have loved to play in the garden. I see a hedge around the garden as well. Okay, Jamie, so if you can accept what we've had so far, the other lady, if you would be able to come back. Can you accept everything apart from the daisies, Jamie? Okay, so we've got Daniela, so you can accept everything but the names. They're not your dad's names, but I don't know if you can ask within the family, because I feel they're on a friendship link that is connected to Dad's work. So I'm not sure if you can check with that. I know I'd still feel I want to be with Dad. So when we're connecting here, we've got this gentleman that would have passed suddenly. Would you understand it's been a few years now since Dad passed, but at the same time, it feels like yesterday because we haven't come to terms with his passing. And Daniela, would you understand where there's been a birthday? Well, it's approaching. There's a birthday in October. I'm looking around the 4th or the first week of October. And I know that my thoughts again have gone to Dad, because every time there has been a celebration, whether it's been a birthday, whether it's been a wedding or an anniversary, he is very much still part of our lives, where not a day has gone past and I don't think about my dad. He's also making me aware as he comes forward. He's showing me, he's showing me wood, and I want to be planing the wood. So would you understand, Daniela, that Dad would have tried to do he would have tried to do DIY, he would have tried to make things, and he's saying it didn't always work, but he was someone that was creative within his mind. So he never stuck for anything. He would try to do things. And if he didn't know how to do it, he would go and find out, because he's showing me books and he's showing me where I would have gone and I would have looked things up and I would have tried to fix them. And I would also have done that within the family as well. No one within my family would ever have been left, because I would have tried to help them and support them. And that was one of the things that Dad was most recognised for. Because I know as we're approaching October, he's telling me that you've been very much in your thoughts. That's excellent, because I know with Dad, he's making me aware that this was a natural talent as well, but it was also a way that he found to relax, because he could use his creativity. Now he's speaking about art and he's showing me a paintbrush, but I want to give the paintbrush to you, Daniela. So would you accept where the thoughts have been there? I don't feel you've actually done it yet, but it's art, but it's like an expressive art. You're not necessarily drawing an object, you're expressing yourself through colour, because he is surrounding you with colour, but it's all the colours of the rainbow. So I want to be surrounding you with that light, but with the colours of the rainbow. And it's just if that, you know, he's talking about this year in particular, where your life has been turned upside down, and yet you're coming through the other side with this new sense of determination, that I have to move forward. I have to, yes, this is my time, because this is the feeling that Dad is giving me. And it's about finding your own creativity and your own inspiration. Okay, there we are, because I know with your dad, as he comes forward, he is saying to me that you have such an unusual style that it's very unique and it stands out. But what Dad is saying here is, when you draw, when you paint, there is something within you that is expressed on the paper. So where he had his creativity through wood, you have it through art. And I know that he is tremendously proud. He's showing me paintings where there's lots of water as well, but it's the reflection on the water. And what he speaks of is where, over these last few months in particular, the reflection of your spirit is reflecting in the reality of how you're living your life. There has been a change, but where now you are living through the power. This is me. This is me. This is who I am. And finding acceptance in who you are. This is what Dad's saying. And I know the pride that I feel at the moment from him for you, that no matter how much time passes, he's only ever a thought away. And where he's been very much, he's speaking about being with you yesterday, and I'm looking at yesterday evening, where I just felt that sense of connection to my dad, because he's making me aware that he was drawing close to you. And you felt a little bit emotional, and yet you felt that, I feel you here, Dad. I know you're here. And this is what he's saying. And again, as he's beginning to step back, because we're restricted for time, I want to blow you a kiss. And to my beautiful, beautiful Daniela. And this is where that love comes from. No matter what is happening within your life, Daniela, know that Dad is that thought. He is that power that is there, that is your strength. And most of all, he said, tell Daniela, I believe in her. He said, please tell her I believe in her, and I want her to believe in herself, seeing the gift she has, seeing the creativity through her art, through that expression of her love, which is the gift that she brings. So will you please accept Dad's love, Daniela, and just know how very, very proud he is. He was so determined that he would come today to share that time with you. So thank you for allowing me to communicate through your dad. I have a young gentleman coming forward now, and he makes me aware that he was involved in an accident, and he's showing me himself. I can see a motorbike, but I can also see a van, and I feel that the van came round the corner, or the bike came round the corner, and there was a collision. With this young gentleman, I know that I've got a vibrant man, I've got someone who had so much to live for. He's putting his hands through his hair, and I felt that this would have been a mannerism or a habit that he would have had. He's giving me the name of Paul, but I'm not saying that Paul is his name. I know that Paul would connect through this gentleman. He's making me very much aware that he loved music. And as this young man is coming forward, I do feel there was a connection or a liking for either the theatre or amateur dramatics. Now, it may have been that he just did this in his younger day, or the person I'm coming to has that connection. But I know there would have been a connection of being on the stage, either for the person I wish to speak to today or for this young gentleman, but it's the suddenness of the passing. I also hear the name of Mark as well. So again, I'm not saying that Mark is his name or Paul is his name, but those two names will connect to this young gentleman. He's very much a character, and also with him, his family, they would have created some sort of shrine, or they would have created some sort of memorial in their house with lots of photographs, but they have struggled to let go of this young gentleman. Would anyone understand that information so far?
Wendy, Phil can hear.
Okay, right, let me just see, and then I've got another lady that's coming forward. Would you understand then? Hello there, Phil. Because I've got a Catherine online as well. Would you understand, Phil, if this is for yourself, there would have been a connection. It's going back some time ago. There would have been a close relationship, and he's quite a theatrical gentleman. I feel
Yes, he was an actor.
Okay, but I want to sing with this man as well. Would you also understand where there's a liking for Shakespeare, where there's a liking for the finer parts, and yet he could turn his hand to comedy, and he could be a gentleman that could be so funny. He could walk onto a stage and just stand there and be funny without saying anything at all.
Yes, he was a very fine Shakespearean actor and also very adept with comedy.
Okay, well, I do feel that I want to be with yourself. I'll see if I can come back to Catherine. With this gentleman as well, would you understand that you used to have long nights into the early morning speaking about philosophy, speaking about spiritual matters, speaking about everything, really? And what he says is where you used to write scripts together or bounce ideas from each other. He's speaking about manuscripts that he started but didn't quite finish, and he would come to you and you would discuss them. And then he said you would bring them all together and tie them up. Would you accept that?
Yes, we were in the middle of writing a play together.
Okay, and I know with this gentleman, as he comes forward, he is telling me that he was a handsome man. And, I know he would have said this with, tongue in cheek, but actually he was. And he said he had the face that lit up the screen. And I know that he was on the cusp of becoming very, very special and well known. Would you accept that? He was it was almost as if he was going to become a superstar. This is what he's saying to me. And yet, what he's saying here is he worked hard. He had been a child actor, or he had been in the stage from a young age, and he was just a natural with it. It was what he always wanted to be. And yet, there always had to be this. It wasn't just about acting and playing a part. He wanted it to have substance. He wanted his work to have value. And this is why he trained. He was the Shakespearean, and yet he could also bring the comedy as well. He's showing me, or he's letting me hear classical music, so I know I would have listened to that. Would you understand someone playing the guitar? You know that flamenco stuff? I don't feel it was himself, but would you understand where he's got this guitar music, but it's the intricate detail of the notes? Would you?
Yes, he played guitar. I'm not sure about the flamenco,
Okay.
but guitar.
Okay, and I know again it was a good quality guitar, because everything that happened with your friend had to be of the highest standard. He was a gentleman that achieved things. And he's saying to me that sometimes, and he's also speaking about a suit. Would you understand where he just bought a new suit or new clothes not long before he passed? Because he's saying, you know, he got something that was designer, because I know I'm very smart. I want to be doing some sort of photo shoot or building up to a photo shoot. So I'd purchase new items. Would you
That's
understand?
quite possible, because he was always buying clothes and
Okay,
suits.
yes. And what he's saying to me here is it was very much designer. He's speaking about an Italian suit, and I know that this is very chic. And he said he's got a photograph, you can maybe check this, where his jacket is thrown over his shoulders, and he's just standing looking, and he's not looking at the camera, he's just looking past. And he said, I did it because the light was where it was catching my face, you know. And he's smiling about that, because what he's saying to me here is, with yourself, you have been thinking about this gentleman because you've been going over old things. And would you understand where you've still got notebooks that have had his writing in them?
Yes, I have.
Because I know that I've been looking at this, I've been thinking about that. Would you also understand with that play he didn't finish, where it needs to be finished, or it has been finished and something's going to happen with it? It's being brought into it's being brought alive again. Can you understand that?
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
this is what he's saying. And he's saying, now remember, he says, remember, never mention me. He says, give me the credit. And he's teasing you about that because he knows you will. But would you accept where it's coming up to a significant anniversary of his passing, and where, or a milestone birthday, where you wanted to acknowledge what he did? And it's about going through saying, I made you a promise that we would get this done together. And I know you're not here, but you have inspired me, because he said there was a twist to the end of the story.
Yes, I can understand that.
And this is where he's saying, where he's looking over you and he's telling me you were like brothers, because I know very much where there was challenges within this young man's family. And yet when you came together, he's telling me you had long hair at the time, or longer hair at the time.
Longer hair, yes.
Yes, because this is what he's saying. You had longer hair. He says you're very smart now. He says he's teasing you about that as well. But also where he's coming forward, he's making me very much aware where he's been watching you, and where the spotlight has changed within you, and now you are coming up to the spotlight, and yet you've been taking that time to be quiet, to connect with spirit, and you felt different then, because what he's saying to me over the last 2 weeks in particular, where you've needed that sense of healing, to say, I need to go forward. I need to go forward. I also need that sense of acceptance and peace within my life. And as he is just about to step away, again, he gives you the strength. He's giving you a gold star. And what he's saying here is, you used to rate each other. So he did something, he'd say, tell me how I was and be honest. And you always was, and he was the same with you. And I know with him, he's telling me how much he admires you, not just for the work you do in public, but the work you do behind the scenes, and also the sincerity that you bring to everything. So with you today, Phil, there's a tremendous amount of love as well for you. And he says it's a brotherly love. He said, I've been in the shadows of the spirit world, He says, but I'm very much supporting you and caring. And thank you. Thank you for being that friend in his darkest hours and being that light in his brightest moments.
Thank you very much, Wendy.
That's what he's saying. So thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil, for allowing this gentleman to come in.
God bless you.
Okay, okay. Right, going. Is that okay? Right, okay, Raymond. Okay, Catherine, I know that you said that you could understand a young gentleman that would have passed, a young friend that would have passed on a motorbike. Would you understand with this young gentleman where he would have liked Guns and Roses music? And he would have had well, I know that most people on a motorbike have a leather jacket, but he would have had something that had some sort of eagle or a bird painted on the back of it. If you can understand that, Catherine. And if you can't, I'll take the information back. But this is the gentleman I feel I have at the moment. Okay, I know that we've got a delay here. So this young gentleman, as he's coming forward, he would have had dark hair and it's quite short on the top as well. I want to put some sort of gel on it because there's a little bit of a spike with this gentleman's hair. And again, you know, the passing, it would have been instant. He would have passed at the scene. He would have passed at the scene. And if Catherine can't understand that, if anyone else can understand that information. Okay, because I feel I've got that gentleman. Okay, she's not responding. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do is I'll just can I move on quickly? I'll move on quick. Okay. So okay, well if the other person could, right. Okay, that's fine. So Karen, you can accept this information. Would you understand this gentleman that is coming forward? He's a bit larger than life because I want a gentleman that he was just loved by everyone. He brought this energy as he came into the room, and I know that the blessing, well, it's not really a blessing, but the fact that it was instant because people worried about that, because he was such a character. And what he's saying to me here, it was the van. It was the van, and he couldn't see anything. So I know that that has been something which has caused so much worry and hurt with his family and with the people who love him. And this is why he is bringing the memory of the Guns and Roses. He's speaking about an air guitar where he would have been pretending to play the guitar. He's a gentleman that he used to make people laugh. He's showing me himself dressing up as well, just for fun, because that's what he would have done to make people laugh, because that was who he was. He was just this character. He's saying to me, I might have been young when I passed, but I created so much. And he said, and the friends that came to his funeral, he's speaking about there being so many people. He didn't realize how many people he had touched within his life, but he did it just by saying, come on, let's live, let's do things together. I want to dance with this gentleman as well. But I don't feel he's actually saying to me that he wasn't a very good dancer, and yet he was enthusiastic. So I know it would have been very much with his hands, he would have done things, but again, it wasn't about, he's saying to me, it wasn't about looking silly, it was about having fun. It was about making the most of every moment that you are here. And when his family, when yourself looked back over his life and realized, you know, he achieved so much, it was almost as if everything was packed in to that short time that he had. And I know with this gentleman as well, he is someone that he's putting his hand through his hair, and I feel that this would have been a mannerism that he would have done. It would have been something that he would have done in the photographs. He's very, very photogenic, this man. And he would always have said, before, well, this is it, you see, because this is what he said about the dancing. You know, he's doing this with his hands, and people are laughing and say, oh my, do you know, look at the way he's dancing. But at the same time, it was about him letting go. It was about him expressing who he was and not being afraid to do that. He just lived for the moment. And with yourself, Karen, would you understand just now where he's saying, you know, put your dancing shoes on, even in the house, but it's about letting go. It's about trying to find that rhythm and that dance within your step again. And I know as he's coming forward, he's making me aware that I want to go back to April, and I can see April the 24th, where there was a period with yourself where I just feel I had gone down. I just emotionally, I was struggling a little bit. I had to find my feet again. And he's saying from the 25th of June, that was when you started to pick up again. And I know as he's coming forward today to you, he's coming forward with that support. He wants to make you laugh. He wants to make you smile. And you know, going back, there would have been, they used to have the television program, Kojak, and they would have had the lollipops and said, who loves you, baby? And I know with him as he's coming forward, this is the humor he's bringing. And he's saying, love you, baby. Love you, baby. And again, it's, you know, this light-hearted, but at the same time, the sincerity. Because he says to me, the pain you felt when he passed, and also the healing that you tried to bring to his family, but they were unconsolable. They were just, you couldn't really reach them, but you tried. You never gave up sending that love and always remembering him. Always remembering. And he tells me that every time you see a van going past, every time you see a motorbike going past, you think about him. Because I know that he's very much with you, especially when you're in the car. I know he's very much there, and he's winding down your windscreen and putting on the music. And I know I've got this loud, bumping music, but I'm happy. I've got my arm in the window, and I'm just allowing the air to blow the hair and, you know, away from my face. But it's about just loving, just accepting. So I know that that's been a very difficult time for you, but what he's saying here is you haven't been alone. He's been very much watching, you know, and this is where he's saying, love you, baby. So will you please accept all of that love, Karen, and just know how very, very close this man is to you. And he's so proud of you. So thank you for being with me today, and thank you for allowing him to speak.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you very much indeed. It's been wonderful service. It really has been wonderful. And it's great to make contact with you and meet you over the internet and speak like we have. Thank you very much for supporting Wimbledon Spiritualist Church today. Just a couple of notices from myself before we ask you to close the meeting with prayer. Next week's service, the mediums will be here physically in the church, Lorraine Francois and Alan Salmon. And our Wednesday Friendship Club will be here, which Jackie will be leading, and we've got a special treat for you for next week. Thank you, Leslie, for passing that on. Thank you. Friends, we've now come to the end of our service, both virtually and physically. I'm just going to ask Wendy to close our meeting with prayer.
Father God, thank you for allowing us to come together in this virtual service. Please may we ask that the healing which has been created within this service can reach out to all corners of the world, to the people who need that love the most, allowing that light to shine brightly upon them. May we also ask for a blessing for each person who is here and the families that they represent. Until we meet again, we thank you, God, for allowing us this special time together. Amen.
Amen. Richard James, our producer, I thank you. Wendy, once again, on behalf of the church, I extend a big thank you to you, to Phil, who did the reading this morning, and to you all, seen and unseen. Good morning. God bless until we all meet again. Good morning. Bye-bye.
Thank you.